Hello,
Hello, good afternoon, Tsitsi. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you coping during the 21 days of the lockdown?
I'm busy. Very. It's busier than when we're not in the lockdown. Working from home is underestimated. Um, there's no transition time. There's no up and down. You just wake up and you get to it.
Interesting. Now, thank you so much for joining me for this series of podcasts where we're talking about the top universal skills needed for one to be successful. So today we're
Mm.
going to be talking about entrepreneurship, where we're taking a new twist. We're going to be focusing on how one can scale a family business to a family enterprise. So for our listeners for this podcast, today I'm joined by a well-versed, award-winning businesswoman with over 15 years experience building her own successful businesses. Tsitsi is also recognized globally for her business acumen and world-class delivery. She's the founder of African Family Firms, lead consultant for NACA Legacy Planning, editor-in-chief for Edgar's Club magazine, founder for Africa is Rising Collective. Tsitsi, I've had an opportunity to attend one of your presentations, and it changed my mind in terms of my approach to entrepreneurship. But first things first, can you
Mm.
please start by giving us the difference between a family business and a family enterprise?
Right. Most people refer to family businesses. They think of your mom and pop stores, but there is quite a large difference between your family in business, family business, and your family enterprise. As you asked, the difference between a family business and a family enterprise. A family in business would be your mom and pop stores, the businesses that we're used to seeing every day that have usually your partners, husband and wives, and brothers and sisters and cousins and the like. Your family business, however, is usually a registered company, which is either registered public or private, which has partners that are which are family members. So it could be similar to your family in business, which is your husband and wife teams, your sibling teams, your parent child teams, your cousin teams. But they should own at least minimum 25% shareholding in the company and have controlling share in terms of voting and the direction of what the business does and how it operates. Sometimes you have multiple families within a company, which it's still deemed a family business, where you have one company that then joins forces with another family, and then they create a business, or they join forces in their different businesses that were the same nature or complementary, and then they become a larger family business. Then from family business, this is what the models that we're used to. These are most of the big companies that we have seen. Family businesses then graduate to what we call family enterprises. Family enterprises are a step up from family businesses in that family enterprises are now the family recognizing that they have substantial wealth, and they no longer want to hold all their wealth in one basket and have just one business investment, and they are just focused on growing that one business. They now want to spread their wealth around and um, ex- um, their wealth holdings and invest in other businesses that are complementary or totally divergent from the business that they originally started with, but then ultimately creating a bigger wealth basket and a bigger financial security for the family itself. So family enterprises would be, for example, you've seen Yarado, they started out as funeral services businesses, just providing the basic funeral services, but they have since grown into a group of companies that have different interests in different areas other than just funeral services. They are offering other packages within the funeral services and the funeral insurances business, but they also now are in hospitality. They're now in furniture. They're now in events. They have a wide variety of business holdings. Other similar businesses are Econet, that started out as just a mobile services company, but now has grown to be a conglomerate that owns multiple businesses in different areas. That's also a family enterprise. And then you also get the Masawara group that has a wide range of interests across a group of industries that they have focused on, and they're growing wealth for their families.
Thank you so much. One of the issues that we suffer from as Zimbabweans or as Africans is passing on a business from one generation to the other. We've got a situation where the person who starts the business, when they die with the business, and it's gone. But it's not the case with people from other continents or of other races. Where exactly do we get it wrong as Africans or as Zimbabweans or blacks?
Well, I would like to believe as family businesses, the biggest problem we have, especially in the African context of family business, is that we have what we call the James Bond family businesses. The James Bond family businesses are those family businesses that have the main founder of the business being the person who runs everything in the business and makes sure that the business operates and is the one who runs the operation. So I think if you look at James Bond the movie, we all know the character 007 is a secret agent. Everything is in secret and he's trying to save the world. So our founders usually have that mentality when they start up the business, and it is their baby and they want to make sure that it works. However, as we go forward and the business grows, it gets to a point in time where succession is very important. But in the African family business context, it's not always taken that way. As we may know in especially and in some other regions in the world, we still take family businesses to be the same as any other business, where they do not separate business from family. And businesses we know as operations and procedures. So with operations and procedures, they're very basic and they're very easy to map out as they do. You must do this in this way to get and to optimize this way. And you can change those different needs and processes and procedures. However, when it comes to family businesses, you must understand you have that integral part of the business. The reason why the business started is the family. The reason why the business still operates is the family. However, family is not a process, neither is it a procedure. The family is filled with individuals that have their individual needs, they have relationships, they have egos, they have emotions, and everything that is handled within a human relationship, the human aspect of it must be handled carefully. You have mental health issues, you have physical health issues, you have a lot of things that we don't take seriously that then can come in and ruin the family business. And I think with African businesses, you've seen it. If the founder, who's a James Bond leader, passes away and there is no actual plan or there's no actual outlook in terms of what is going to happen and how it is going to happen, you find then a situation where it falls apart, the business falls apart, the family falls apart, there's infighting and there's fighting over resources, and the family doesn't understand that they are financially interdependent through the business, and also lack of tools such as family governance. There are family governance tools that, if set in place in the beginning by the founder while the business is still young, while the business is growing, or even as the business has matured, the fact that family governance tools are not implemented on the African continent are one of the critical features that are destroying our family businesses. Because family governance is things like the family constitution, family assemblies, and family councils are tools that have been used and proven to work by families that have been around for many generations and that have worked together for many generations. They help to govern when the family moves from founder to sibling partnership to cousin consortium, because each stage of growth, each stage of generational wealth has its own complexities, and each stage has its own issues that needs to be addressed, and they have to work hand in hand and consider that the family itself is integral to the success of the business.
Thank you, Tsitsi. So now, if someone wants to venture into entrepreneurship, I now know that I need to plan succession, I need to put policies and procedures in place, I need to come up with a family governance to separate the family from the business. and obviously avoid the James Bond mentality. But then,
Hmm.
for me to start now, how do I know when I've got a good idea? So I'm an individual. I'm trying to think. I've got so many ideas in my mind. How do I know that this is a good idea and I should go for it?
So entrepreneurship is not a cut and paste thing. It's entrepreneurship is very much a learning as you go thing. And in I found like when I started out, the journey was a lot harder because there were so many prerequisites that were demanded by people as they were getting to familiarize themselves with businesses and how businesses should operate. So I remember one of the most important things back then was register your company and have this document and that document and this and that, which are very stringent issues that sometimes would make entrepreneurs think, am I ready for this? Can I truly do this? And sometimes give up. However, as the world has developed and times have changed and people have changed, there has become an understanding that entrepreneurship and success is very much based on agility and ability to scale. So what does that mean? That means that when you have a business idea, do not be stopped by the bureaucracy. Do not be stopped by wanting to make it perfect. Do not be stopped by trying to do this and that and needing this and this. What you need to do is focus on what is your product and what is your service and who is this product or service helping. Once you know what that is and who that is, you need to start operating. You need to start rolling out your idea. If it's a product, start creating your samples of it and start selling it. If it's a service, start offering the service and start getting clients. And as you do that, you will know whether you're servicing the right clientele. You will know whether you are providing the right product. You will know what you're missing in terms of missing the mark and what you're getting right. And as you continue, you will know whether you have the right business idea or not. And as you grow bigger, you will know when it's time to scale or when it's time to fold up shop. It's easier to fold up shop and start over again when you haven't put in so much money, so much time for a business idea that is not even tested. You need to test the hypothesis, which simply means you need to test the idea on the market. You need to see, are people interested? And if they are interested, how many people are interested? What more can you do to make them interested? And how much of the product they actually are interested in? What is the shelf life of your product? Are they going to be interested in it continuously? Are you going to have to give them more than just what you've given them? What does that look like going forward for you? So the key is to get started. Forget all the things that you've been told about getting this perfect, getting that perfect. There are some people who set up websites within hours and start running demos of projects within hours. And that's what's key, to get and running, to start testing out your theory and starting to see whether you have an idea that works or not. Everything else, as soon as you've got a working idea and you now need to scale. Scale just simply means you need to go bigger. You need to get better. That's when you start looking at dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Thank you, Tsitsi. So again, after having the idea and maybe I've tested the idea, and I now know that this is the right thing to do. The first assumption is all of my family, my friends, my community, my networks, everyone supporting me. But then this is not always the case. It's for a lot of people. So,
Mm-hmm.
as someone who's venturing into entrepreneurship for the first time, how do you handle adversity and doubt that comes during the journey?
So one thing you must be very clear about with anything that you ever want to do in life, you're going to have people who are going to doubt you, but they're not doubting you personally, but they're doubting themselves, because when you tell people an idea, they're not looking at you and thinking, what are your capabilities? What can you do? What can't you do? They're looking at themselves and thinking, what are their capabilities and what can they do and what they can't do? And obviously, because of that, they are then giving you an answer based on their capabilities, not you, not your idea, but them executing the idea. And so don't be marred by somebody else's inability to see your vision, because that vision was never given to them. You're just sharing with them because you want validation. And that is a big problem, because validation does not come from other people. Validation comes from executing the idea, executing the service, executing the thing that you want to get done. It's when you see it in your mind, you have been given the tools, the ability to put it on the ground. You do get a lot of people who will be going, I need to look for funding. Let me try to get funding. You're trying to get funding to scale an idea that you haven't even tried. Who's willing to give you money to try out when you can't even use your own? And there's always that complaint, I don't have the money. But surely when you came up with the idea, you knew the idea would generate money. Do it on a small scale and see how much it will generate you. Because I once read somewhere that money comes where there is a valid idea. Money will not come where you do not have a valid idea, where you cannot test it or prove that it's being tested and that it's working, where you cannot give statistics on in terms of how much it will give back to the person who's giving you money. So it's really, really important to think within yourself and say, right, if I have this idea, how am I going to make it work? And am I interested in the idea, or am I committed? Because when you're just interested in something, it's like somebody says to you, oh, do you want to go to the park? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let me think about it. If somebody says to you, do you want to go, and there's money being given away at the bank, do you want to go? You're committed. You will get up and you get dressed and you'll go. You'll probably get there before the other person gets there. Commitment is different from interest. Interest is when you're toying with an idea, you're not too sure, you're thinking it might give you money, but you're not willing to give your all to it. And then obviously when somebody comes to you and says, yeah, it's not really a good idea, maybe you must think of something else, you're going to quickly want to drop it down because you were not committed in the first place. I know from the businesses that I have done and the work that I have done, when I've been committed to something, nothing, absolutely nothing can stop me. It's like hell and high water before you can get me to listen or even think in any direction that makes me put it down, because I am committed. It's whatever it takes to see it come into fruition.
See, I would totally agree. Looking at your profile, when I was looking at your profile before this interview or podcast, to summarize it, for me, what I see is commitment, determination, hard work, and success. Totally no excuses at all. But then the challenge that we've got now is with a lot of people who are in our nation, they always give the economy as an excuse. We do not have this, we do not have that. I'll do a business when everything is right. But we've got an example of someone like you. We are in the same nation, we are operating in the same environment, and you are successful. What kind of advice would you give to someone who gives the economic conditions, situation as an excuse?
Well, I always say that economy is a sum total of people working together towards making money and ensuring that it goes around in a circle, in a profitable circle for everybody involved. And so the Zimbabwean economy is no different. Yes, we have other pull and push factors that affect us and affect our everyday operations and how we can run our business and how we run our businesses. I'm not denying that fact, but I'm also looking at the fact that as we look at the beginning of the Zimbabwean economy as we know it, the colonialists came into a barren land. And when I say barren, I mean there were no buildings, there was no water system, there was no ZESA, there was no all of these things we take for granted every day. And they set up these things. And then when we got our independence, yes, government took over these things. But it was a group of people that worked together and agreed on setting up these facilities and these things. Equally so, we are all a group of people that can sit down and agree on certain things and working them in a certain way that makes us successful. We can agree to do commerce with each other. We can agree to manufacture. We can agree to create. Manufacturing is creating based on needs. What needs are there in our country? Are we manufacturing to meet these needs, even at a small scale? What what services are needed in this country. Are we servicing these needs even at a small scale? The question shouldn't be what the government can do for me, what other people can do for me, what investors can do for me, because investors are coming in and putting in their money and they're expecting their money back with return. If we are not productive as a country, who wants to put money where there is no productivity? You cannot invest where there is no sign of life. It's everybody's responsibility to do something towards creating economy. Only then can we then turn around and say to government, we are doing this, yet we're being hindered by this. You need to help us by doing this. Currently, there has been a joint effort by a lot of people where we're just saying it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So we sit and we wait for it to work or for someone to come and save us so that it'll work. And unfortunately, from what I've seen of life in general, that doesn't work.
That in-depth information that you are sharing with us, you're not touching on the surface. Thank you for that. Before we come to the end of this podcast, do you have any additions that you'd like to give on this topic of entrepreneurship or scaling a family business to your family enterprise?
Yes, I think I would like to say that it is really important as individuals that we stop waiting for life to happen to us and stop waiting to participate and stop waiting for tables to be created that we can sit at, tables that we can contribute towards. There are already tables out there where we have become discussion points, where we have become people that are negligible. It's about time that we started as individuals to start creating our own tables, as a nation to start creating our own spaces and to start moving forward. When there is a problem, let us look to solving the problem. Let us look away from asking someone else and hoping someone else will come and solve it for us, but instead taking initiative and becoming problem solvers and focusing on the fact that solving a problem is a benefit not only for us as individuals, but for our communities and for future generations, because they are going to walk into this same space. And if we haven't fixed it or haven't contributed towards their future success, they're going to turn around and they're going to say, why didn't they? They had so much resources. They had so much potential. And we live in a space where anything and everything is possible.
Thank you so much, Tsitsi. I would like to believe some listeners, as they're listening in, they would want to get some assistance from yourself in setting up their family governance tools and to also benefit from a couple of services that you offer. How can they get in touch with you? Can you share maybe your website, your social media handle, contact, which they can use to get in touch with you?
Right. I have 3 ways they can get in touch with me. They can get in touch with me through my website, www.tsitsimutendi.com. They can get hold of me through my consulting website, www.nakalegacy.com. Naka is NHAKALEGACY, nakalegacy.com. And they can get hold of me through the Family Business Association that I set up with my co-founder, which is called AfricanFamilyFirms.org. African Family Firms is a non-profit organization, a family business association for family businesses in Africa operating in the African context. And it is there to help African family businesses grow so that they can pass on multi-generational wealth. You can go onto our website, find out more about what we do and how you can become a member of that. It's also on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, as am I, Tsitsi Mutendi, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, as well as Naka Legacy is on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. On my Facebook, I, however, have limited the number of personal requests I take. I have a Facebook page, which is Tsitsi Mutendi. You can just follow me on that, and you can inbox me through that, and I will respond.
Tsitsi Mutendi, thank you so much for giving us this privilege to talk to you during this lockdown period. I know you're very busy, but thank you for giving us this opportunity. I personally like your energy, your positive vibe, and I'm inspired by what you have achieved in your life. Continue impacting lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Enjoy the rest of the lockdown period.
I will try to.
Yes, you will. Thank you.
All right then. Bye.